to the agenda slide. So what we wanted to present to you today was, what I wanted to start off by doing was giving you a broad overview and introduction to what sustainability means to IONOS. Then I was also going to kind of dig a little bit into the trends and drivers specifically behind environmental sustainability. And then I was going to pass over to Stefan to kind of, where he could give you more meat and bones on what we're actually planning, what we're doing in our data center sustainability today and what we plan to do tomorrow, and then hopefully wrap up towards the end with a short Q&A session. So, actually when me and Stefan started talking about this topic and what we wanted to discuss and what we wanted to present, the working title was actually green data centers. And I think we both quickly realized that it needed to be sustainable data centers and not green data centers. And I think there's a lot of misconceptions and preconceptions that exist with regards to what sustainability even is and what it means. So I think the main preconceptions that people have, people think, well, firstly, it's only to do with environmental topics. And then secondly, people think it's to do with kind of community and social related initiatives. But the scope of it is much, much broader than that. And how I see what sustainability is, how we as a company take into account how we create value for society, for our employees, for our customers, as well as for ourselves. What I want to present on this slide was what we've identified as our 4 pillars of sustainability, what's important to IONOS, and the outside world. So the environmental pillar, that's obviously something that we're going to discuss in a little bit more detail today. But maybe what people don't think about is how people in development, corporate digital responsibility, and customer and product relate to sustainability. So in terms of people and development, we want to create a company culture where we value diversity, where employees feel like they belong. We're a company that's able to attract and retain employees. We ensure that they have the training and skills that they need to be able to provide the best customer service, health and well-being and safety, and corporate citizenship. So what we've done on this pillar in real terms, real practical terms, is that we're a signatory to the Charter of Diversity. So particularly this year, we've done a lot of work on raising awareness on diversity initiatives, training and awareness, really enabling and promoting women within the organization and thinking about how we're going to drive that forward. So going forward, we're really going to take a data-driven approach to improve the employee experience at IONOS. Maybe another pillar that people don't think about is corporate digital responsibility. By that, I mean how we create value by keeping our customers safe, by keeping society safe. So a part of that is data privacy and information security, management systems that we've implemented to keep customers and as well as our own data secure and safe. But as part of our web hosting company, I think we also have a responsibility to ensure a safe and secure internet. And there's a team at IONOS who do exactly that, where we are partnering with universities, we're partnering with law enforcement agencies to make sure that our products or the websites that we host can't be misused or abused. Also, digital empowerment and inclusion is related to product sustainability. So how do we integrate sustainability into the products and services that we're providing? And a lot of the work that we've been doing over the course of the last year actually relates to our online shops, and we've been working to make those shops more accessible to people with disabilities. And we also want to go beyond that to see how can we integrate environmental aspects into the products and services that we provide. So for the customer and product, the last one, a large part of sustainability is actually about how we engage and listen to stakeholders. And for us, obviously, the most important stakeholder is our customers, how we listen to them through feedback, research, workshops, surveys. Yeah, really pleased to say that we have won European Contact Center and Customer Service Awards over the course of the last year. And here we want to go beyond that and really start to think about how do we enable our customers to be more sustainable. So coming back to the topic today, which is environment. So if, Stefan, if you could go to the next slide, please. Thanks. So here, what I wanted to do was set the stage for Stefan, essentially. So, I mean, even those of you with a passing interest in data center sustainability, I'm sure you've probably heard the statistics that relate to that energy consumption from data centers could account for 1 to 2% of global energy consumption, all the way up to 20%. There's a lot of drivers that are coming in from a legislative perspective with the European Green Deal, carbon neutral by 2050. Obviously, you as customers are becoming more interested in the topic of sustainability. But here, what I see is, rather than us being a part of the cause of the problem, we actually, those data centers that are sustainable, relying on carbon neutral energy, renewable energy, we can actually be part of a solution for a sustainable future for Europe. So a lot of people obviously probably think about reducing energy consumption, reducing carbon emissions, but what I think people don't think about is how we manage climate change risk. As we've seen in Germany on our doorstep, the floodings that have happened, increasing extreme weather events, how we will seek to protect our data centers and office-based locations from those. And that's something that me and Stefan are looking into this year. Some data centers rely heavily on water-based cooling. A lot of countries are going to become water scarce, including Germany, and there's already discussions relating to even drinking water becoming scarce in some parts of Germany. So I think here, companies that take into that account will have a competitive advantage and reduce reliance on resources that could create reputational risks. Circular economy is all about reducing the amount of raw materials and resources that a company uses. And I think a lot of people are familiar with recycling, but we also will start paying attention to how we actually reduce the amount of raw materials we need overall, or servers, how we seek to reuse, refurbish equipment to increase the life cycle, and that also then reduces our environmental impact. And finally, scope 3 emissions are everything that relate to our supply chain. It's a really big challenge because once you start digging into supply chain emissions, it's kind of almost never ending. Where do you start? Where do you stop? But this is where we're starting to work with our procurement teams to start to think about this in a little bit more detail. And Stefan, now I'll pass over to you to talk about the actual good work that we've been doing in our data centers on these topics.
Cool. Thank you very much, Randeep, for the great introduction. And yeah, I cannot emphasize it enough that green IT is super crucial for what we do, but it's just a part of the whole sustainability story. So I fully appreciate that we take a really broad approach here at IONOS. Maybe to give you an introduction to the data center realm here at IONOS. We have a global data center portfolio, so we are in many countries. Of course, focuses on Europe, but we own and run also a data center in the US, which you can see on the upper picture. And it's a good mix of course, central, big owned data centers, and a mix of co-location sites. Of course, it's not sustainable to build every data center yourself, whether you can fill it up or not. So for us, in the center of our strategy is that we build and run the data centers where we have a really a considerable capacity, a considerable demand that really justifies us going straight in and optimizing it. From a DC organization point of view, it's important that we go the full 9 yards. So we really own this topic. It's not that we just use data centers. We really own this topic, and it really starts from planning data centers, choosing locations, doing a risk analysis, looking at environmental factors, and build the data centers together with external companies, of course. But we really own the topic from the planning stage to the operation stage, which gives us a substantial lever into, yeah, of course, influencing and optimizing the topic way deeper than if you are reliant on co-location sites only. One essential puzzle piece for me is that we do not only plan, build, and run data centers. We also go into bare metal engineering, and we are actually already doing that for as long as I can think of. So yes, we also started, and we are, of course, using some commercial off-the-shelf servers. But wherever we go into big amounts of servers, into big platforms, we put a lot of focus to go beyond what, a company like Dell and HP can do. They are forced to develop products that run in all different kinds of environments. And of course, they have to be a lot more generic than what we can do. By us going in what I name factory engineering. I'm not thinking in terms of this is the data center part with a PoE and this is the server part with that efficiency. For us, that separation actually doesn't matter. We are building a factory. We are building machine rooms where it starts with power and cooling and it ends with IP, but you really at the end don't care where is the transition between infrastructure and IT. So we do really a holistic approach here, and of course that enables us to go much deeper in the optimizations. We also run. We have DC operations teams in all data centers that we own. So we do not rely on external parties, but we really care for quality internally, and we care for the full IT lifecycle. So pretty much the job of my division is to keep everybody else at IONOS at the desk, not having to care for receiving servers, inventorizing it, bringing it into the data centers, booting it up, repairing, upgrading, moving, and also care about the end of the life cycle, which ends at the secure deletion of the data, of course, and then taking care that we bring the servers or the material into a second life. And that's also why we care a lot about engineering chassis, cold aisle containments ourselves. So because then we can care not only for the current generation of IT, but also what's coming next. So we can essentially rip the server apart and reuse what makes sense: chassis, power supply, all is based on best industry processes. So we take ITIL as a role model for many processes like incident management, change management, problem management. All our data centers are ISO 27001 certified. So it means we take a risk-based approach on the main security goals like confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And I like that a lot, that the ISO at some point of time aligned all their management systems, and we take pretty much the same approach for energy consumption as well. And this also means that, and not many companies actually do that we also do a risk management approach on energy. That means we think about what are the factors in the future that could, in a negative way, influence the energy consumption, pretty much as you do with a risk, with the security. You think about factors that can harm you in the end. Giving you an overview, and no, this slide is not up to date, and it's a moving target. So just take it as a rough map that gives you an idea how diverse our infrastructure is, and it shows that this is not something that is of second nature for us. So owning and running infrastructure is in the heart of IONOS, and a lot of people do nothing else every day but caring about infrastructure being well maintained, staying alive, etc. And I'm really proud of heading that division. With regard to bandwidth, you can fully ignore the pictures. So I think the biggest links we're currently running are 800 gigs. So everything is evolving constantly. Jumping onto the sustainability topic, so where especially do we care about sustainability in building? We, as I said, we engineer the data center infrastructure ourselves. And of course, we optimize energy, but not only energy. A lot of companies use water and then show how great their PUE is, but hiding that they actually use water, a lot of water to actually get there. I already alluded that we built the containments and the servers a lot, so we really care about the full picture from the building point of view, and then also running it. We started in 2008 to purchase green energy by means of energy certificates, and then transitioned into really buying energy, renewable energy, directly from the source some years ago. At the moment, there are several PV installations pending, so we also will do energy pretty much production ourselves. So it's already really cool what we do today, and I think we can be proud of what we do. And of course, that's our obligation. I mean, it's not that you can fully expect us to focus on that level. Where are we going in the future? And I want to be brutally honest there, that from my perspective, nobody knows the full road map that lies ahead of us. There's a lot of technology in development, and our strategy is in development, and it's about how to build CO2-free buildings in the future. And yes, we actually already did the first steps. So the latest data center in the UK is built out of CO2-free material. So we are not talking about this only, we are doing the first steps. Running sustainability, I mean, at the moment we source renewable energy, but I guess everybody knows that solar power and wind power is not something you have a constant feed of day, night, all months of the years. So this is really still a big topic on how to make sure that the renewable energy is permanently available for everything. And at the moment, we data centers are running ahead of the movement. And for that perspective, we currently still get enough renewable energy all year long. But if the entire country and the entire planet goes there, then we still have ways to go to think about how to store energy, how to generate emergency energy, how to reuse energy. We're talking megawatts of heat of the data centers, and reuse components. So this is a really exciting topic. There's a lot of challenges ahead, and So I'm really happy that we are in the middle of this, and there are really things we can move forward. So handing back to you, Randeep.
Yeah, so just quickly to summarize, the first point is that we recognize, for us, sustainability is a strategic initiative across all of those pillars. We recognize that it creates value, and I think everything that Stefan just said related to the environmental pillar, corporate digital responsibility, actually, shows that. Also, touching on what Stefan said, that the fact that we, own key data centers and operate them, it gives us a lot of opportunities for reducing resource consumption, sustainable design, reducing our carbon footprint, today, but we're kind of clearly aware of the challenges that we will face going forward as well.